obviously, we have the core night and Thursday. And then, of course, yesterday, Michigan introduced its new head coach, and that is Kyle Whittingham, who joins the Wolverines after 20 seasons leading Utah. Here's Whittingham on what led him to this new opportunity.
I didn't have any hesitation. There's some issues, missteps that are being taken care of, but the key is the core, the players. The players are solid. That I certainly know the general gist of what transpired, in the series of, I guess we'll call them unfortunate events, but not really fazing me. I'm a football coach. I focus on coaching the team, and everything else will be handled in due time and in due process.
All right, let's talk about what he has done since 2005, Whittingham's first full season in Salt Lake. Utah and Michigan have virtually been the same program, nearly identical record, nearly identical scoring, same number of 10-win seasons. Obviously, the Wolverines won the championship a couple of years ago, but that feels like a very long time ago under the circumstances. Here's the commissioner of college football, Josh Pate, to answer all the questions. Josh, does Michigan upgrade at coach in the long run by bringing in Kyle Whittingham?
Significantly, Greeny. They upgrade day one. We talked several times about this coaching search. It's crazy that it felt like Michigan had to kind of jump out of the plane without the chute, and it wasn't working, and they pulled the cord and it didn't work, and there was this updraft at the last minute, and they just landed on the ground and said, how did we do this? How did we land Kyle Whittingham? Kyle Whittingham just said in that soundbite everything you need to know. I really just kind of focus on the team. I coach football. No one knows anything about Kyle Whittingham's personal life other than he drives a motorcycle to work. That is fantastic news for Michigan. You probably got, pound for pound, the best coach in the Big 12, who, for his own unique set of circumstances, was sort of shoved out the door well before he was ready to go at Utah. Culture, football piece, like it all fits there. This is like an awesome outcome for what was at times a very curvy, windy road of a coaching search.
So does this coaching search at this point, so I was reading through the notes that you sent in to our team, how does this coaching search here help the Wolverines not only short-term but long-term?
Well, you've got stability. You've got a proven commodity. This isn't a guy that's being brought in and you have to wonder, what can he do? I know. It doesn't matter if I'm 18 or 48. I know what he can do. I know he's got a ton of tread left on the tires. The one thing that's going to be thrown at him is his age, because he's in his mid-60s. Not all 66-year-olds are created equal. I mean, Kyle Whittingham has the body of like a 44-year-old guy, works out, eats steak, coaches football. That's pretty much all he does. And the culture piece is going to be there. The stability is going to be there. Guys want to play for him. Guys want to coach for him. So if you can staff and you can put together a roster, you'll win football games at Michigan. And I think he'll win football games at Michigan.
Very quickly, it's been a wild coaching cycle. I think we should get used to those in college football. Who do you think came out on top? Of all the hires, which do you think was the best one in this coaching cycle?
Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech is not a top 30 program in the recent history of college football, and they went and got themselves a top 15 caliber head coach in James Franklin, who had been in the semifinal of the playoff less than a calendar year prior. And there was no scandal. There are no extenuating circumstances. There's no catch to it. He was just available because Penn State fired him. And he landed there in the middle of the season, so you didn't have to wait until January to hire him. And he proceeded to raid his former roster and raid his former recruiting class and raid his former staff. And Virginia Tech, pound for pound, Virginia Tech would have loved to have gotten Lane Kiffin, but Tech's not getting Lane Kiffin. But for what was capable at Virginia Tech, or so we thought, this was a monumental occurrence for them. It's a big deal for the ACC to get a caliber of coach like that, Greeny.
Okay, so maybe James Franklin winds up getting the last laugh. Now, tomorrow we'll dive deeply into these quarterfinals, but let me get a couple of quick burning questions on these games we have coming up, and it starts on Wednesday night. Miami, Josh, is a 9.5-point underdog against Ohio State. Are the Hurricanes being disrespected?
Disrespected, if you believe that, you should bet it. I did bet Miami plus the points, so I will go that route with you. I just think to myself, man, Ohio State's faced two top 20 defenses this year. One of them was Texas. They scored 14 on them. The other was Indiana. They scored 10 on them. This line is nearly a double-digit line. I think it all boils down to, Greeny, odds makers looking at what Carson Beck did and didn't do against A&M, and they think that's him. I think there is a lot more meat on the bone in the passing game than he showed in what was a very, very windy outdoor game in College Station. I think it'll be a different story here. I think Miami can move the ball, not hanging 40, but I think they can do a lot more offensively. So, yeah, I think the number's too big.
Quickly, Alabama and Indiana. Is Bama's offense good enough to take down the unbeaten Hoosiers?
Yeah, it's just a tightrope walk. Yes, they can win without running the ball for 120 yards. They're not going to run the ball for 120 yards, but they've known that. They've known that in several of these big games they've won this year. The thing that you have to have is you have to have precision, you have to have accuracy, you have to have points, and you got to be good on third down. If you do those things, that's the nature of the tightrope walk. If you execute it, you'll be fine. If they go sideways in any of that, they fall 100 feet to the ground.
And then the SEC game in the Sugar Bowl, Ole Miss and Georgia. Who has the better quarterback?
Ole Miss has the most dangerous quarterback in this tournament, I think. And remember, his first SEC road start was against Georgia. Trinidad Chambliss had, I think, 5 touchdowns on their first 5 drives. He's only gotten better. Georgia is the favorite here. I think Georgia will win because I think they have the better team. But the most dangerous quarterback in this game, and I believe pound for pound in this tournament, remaining field, including the Heisman Trophy winner Fernando Mendoza, is Trinidad Chambliss because of the complete package he brings.
Josh Pate, he's the commissioner of college football. He'll be with us all week as we get you set for these games. Josh, thank you. College football playoff continues. Again, ESPN and the ESPN app. New Year's Eve, it's Miami, Ohio State. New Year's Day, we have the trifecta, Oregon and Texas Tech, Alabama, Indiana, and the nightcap is Ole Miss and Georgia. Magnificent games coming your way this week, and we'll have lots of time to dive into those. But coming up next, we dive back into Buffalo. Philly squeaks past the Bills. But was their offense nearly enough? Their head coach is rethinking everything, and you'll hear the answers to their problems after we see if Rex can answer this one. Little sneaky Darius here because Hembo's on holiday. We've talked about how hard it is to get to the Super Bowl as a wild card. Who was the last AFC team to make the Super Bowl as a wild card? The answer is next. If the Bills and Josh Allen are going to make the Super Bowl, they're going to have to do it as a wild card.
Yeah.
So here's the question. I've pointed out, if you watch the show, you've heard me say many times, Aaron Rodgers and Tom Brady are the only quarterbacks in the last 15 years to make the Super Bowl as a wild card. And Brady did it in Tampa. So who was the last AFC team to make the Super Bowl as a wild card?
Well, look, I'm going to say this because, quite honestly, I may very well have forgotten the team, but I'm going way, way back.
Okay.
The thing that I remember, I was a D coordinator with Baltimore when the Steelers actually went, and so I'm just going to go with them because I can't remember another team that did it. So I'm going to go with the Pittsburgh Steelers.
The Pittsburgh Steelers in 2005
There you go.
is correct.
There you go.
That is right. That is unbelievable.
Boom! And you know what it is? It's not Himbo.
Darius.
It's Darius. Well, Darius, guess what? Boom! I own you too. And by the way, Himbo, I know you're watching at home. Boom! I still own you.
Back in the winner's circle. Get me Danny and Jeffy down here and let's dive
Seattle
into
and
this.
Detroit?
So the reason,
Yeah, that's what I mean.
that's
That
the year
was
they
when I
wound
came
up
up with it.
Correct. They beat Seattle in that Super